Guys, I want to come on here and clear up something because I did a video about the divestment community who always wants to get into my inbox and get on my comments and tell me how wrong I am and make dumb comments like I'm trying to scare black women away from dating white men. So let me start this out by saying this. I don't care whether you date white men. I'm not trying to scare you away from dating white men. I'm not trying to take a pink peen out of your mouth. I'm not trying to get you to think that you're not desirable to white men. But the reality of it is facts are facts. And the data shows that while the interracial dating rate, according to Pew Research, between black women and white men is at 12%, the marriage rate is at 3%. So that means the majority of you guys who are dating white men are not getting married to them. Skincare is very important. So if you're looking for products that are safe, natural, and effective, go to QualityHandmadeSoaps.com. This is a black-owned business where you can find all natural handmade lotions, body butters, sugar scrubs, bath bombs, and more. Go to QualityHandmadeSoaps.com because handmade is the best made. And we know men initiate marriages, so the reality of it is that they're not interested in marrying you. Will they date you? Yes. And let's set the record straight. There is a difference between a man checking for you, glancing at you and acknowledging you, dating you, and marrying you. So if you're going to come into my comment section and make the dumb comment saying, oh, well, black men are not marrying us either, that doesn't negate anything because you're saying that you're divesting to the men within the dominant society because they won't marry you. So then you can't come back and try to negate what I'm saying by saying, oh, well, black men won't marry us either.
What I don't get is why are you saying dominant society? You really think that black people aren't even a part of the same society? So if black people are so inferior they don't even belong to the same society as white people. Like, you have such an inferior complex. This is why interracial relationships bother you so much, because you feel that white people are on this imaginary pedestal that you just need to reprogram your brain into thinking they're actually on. They're just people like the rest of us. They really are. And on the whole marriage rate thing, to me, if what you're saying with the whole situation of black women, and you're saying that black women don't generally prefer white men, I don't know. I mean, like, if that were really statistically true, then, and that black women don't give white men that many options, then that would be, I mean, with them, I'm saying, then I would think that would mean that maybe when they're dating those men, they're not dating them seriously because they prefer black men, perhaps. I mean, why would you automatically think it's the other way around? It could be that many black women don't want to marry those white men and they wanted to marry a black man. Oh, you couldn't think that because if you're dating black men and white men in your dating pool, you must value the white men more, right? Because you see white men as so much more valued. You see white people as so much more valued. This is a part of your inferiority complex. And we'll get into this. You're gonna get a bit colorist at the end of your video here.
Point of view divesting from them is because you're claiming there's another group of men who will marry you, genius. So y'all really need to think before you speak and before you get into my comments and say stuff. And look, you can make whatever video you want trolling. You can say whatever you want. You can suggest that I can't get a man within the dominant society as much as you want to. I can get a man within the dominant society. I don't want one. So you saying that doesn't mean anything to me. I could get better men within the dominant society than you guys do, because the difference is I'm not carrying around desperation on me. I'm not looking at them as my savior. So when I go out and navigate in the world, I'm walking around at.
See, that's what I mean. She's constantly in this mode of, a lot of mammies get this way where they feel like, especially the ones that have some sense of attraction towards other races, they feel like they're inferior by choosing black men. And so they have this thing where they need to try and put the women who choose other races down to make themselves feel better about choosing a black man, because in their minds they view black men as inferior to white men, which is really messed up because they shouldn't be dating anybody that they feel as inferior. No black man with a good self-esteem would date them because they view black men as inferior, and this is what she is basically implying here.
A woman who couldn't care less whether these men give me attention or not. What y'all are doing is allowing black men to dictate your dating decisions. A black man made you feel devalued, and now you're trying to go to the men within the dominant society to somehow restore that value rather than doing the work on yourself. Are you looking for a way to entertain?
See, this is what I mean. It's always that idea. This is a mammy mentality, but I think it also has some coloristic undertones to it. One, because mind you, she is putting up a dark-skinned black woman as the face of this, and she is a lighter-skinned black woman herself. She's similar complexion to myself, so she's on the lighter spectrum of this. And a big thing in the colorism spectrum is they create that idea that darker skinned black women basically were rejected by dark skinned black men, and therefore, because of this, they are going to other races, which is so terrible to dark skinned black women, because it's like some dark skinned black women just don't prefer black men. They just don't. They don't have an attraction. I'm a lighter skinned black woman myself, and I've never had an experience with black men where they didn't like me. In fact, it was always the opposite way. I've always had situations where they, of all populations, have always been the most favorable towards me. The more favorable than black women are. Black women, well, I'm not going to say that, but black women, a lot of the time I find, in a population between black men and black women, black men are always much more nicer to me, first off the bat. Then black women will notice how I am to them, and usually they're more partial to me, because I am more partial to black women than I am to black men, because I know why black men are nicer to me. I've noticed black men have always been nicer to me than Hispanic men, or Asian men even, so to me, I just think, why are you assuming that I've had negative experiences with black men in that regard? My issue with black men is sexual harassment. So it's definitely not about the whole thing of black men being negative or rejecting me. Like, I've never approached a black man because I've never wanted a black man, being completely honest, because I'm not attracted to that. I see black men as basically looking like black women. I was raised by black women, dark-skinned black women, so I don't understand why I would want that image. I can literally turn my mother's face into FaceApp, and it's Shaq's face, basically. So, I mean, to me, that's the general dark-skinned black male look to me. And why would I want a man who looks like my mother? You get what I'm saying? That's not hate towards black men. It really isn't. It's just a thing. It's like what most of the people I've seen that look like those people are female. And somehow I'm supposed to get, in my head, an idea of masculinity. That doesn't make much sense to me. That doesn't mean that I've had a negative experience with them as far as rejection. I really haven't. No, I never have. But yeah, continue.
Yourself during this self-quarantine time, Pick up The Color of Madness by Crystal Black, where she details the impact of racial oppression on the Black female psyche. This book is available at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Author House. The Color of Madness by Crystal Black. Regardless of what any of y'all try to say about me, I will try to do the work on myself to make sure I am whole, to make sure that my mind and my emotions are in the correct place and that they are conducive to the type of relationship that I want to be in, regardless of the race of person. Now, that's going to be a Black man, obviously. But what y'all are swore hopefuls. Y'all are undesirable. So some of y'all can sit up and still live with your parents and claim that a white man is going to come save you. But if he's not even getting you out your parents' house, then clearly you're, number one, not select, and number two, not worth his attention. Even though he is glancing your way, he's still not taking you out of your parents' house. And that's what a lot of y'all's situation is. You're non-select, you have low self-esteem, you've allowed someone else to devalue you.
See, that's what I'm saying. She constantly is having a lot of hate towards Black women who interracially date. Yet somehow, we're supposed to ignore this. This is why a year ago when I made my video about the lady, people seemed so mad at me and I was so confused because it was like with interracial relationships, Black women who are in interracial relationships, she literally hates them. Like, she's literally trying to attack them and say that they're non-select and that people aren't choosing them. She says that Black men rejected them. She says that white men rejected them. Why are you saying that it's wrong for divestors to speak against such a woman who has such envy and jealousy towards Black women? Like, you get what I'm saying? And now you think this man from the dominant society is going to come pick up the pieces. He's not going to. Will he date you? Will he have sex with you? Will he befriend you? Will he talk to you? Absolutely. Will he fetishize you? Absolutely. Will he think you're pretty? Absolutely. Nobody is saying that any of these things can occur. But you're not going to argue against the fact that they are not marrying you in large numbers. That's just the reality of it. If the marriage rate has been 3% and then has only increased to 4% within the past 8 years, then clearly they're not interested in marrying you like that. And yes, part of that has to do with the fact that Black women are the least likely to date outside their race. So what you can do then is prove me wrong, go out and find you that man, get him to marry you, and then have that interracial marriage rate between Black women increase. That's just my whole point. I don't want you to feel devalued, but I'm not going to mislead you and get you to believe that a group of men find value in you over their women when they don't. Teddy Rowe was a courageous African-American historian. So see, that's exactly what I'm saying here. She definitely has a lot of jealousy towards those Black women who are interracially dating because I think it's a situation where she was hit hard, I think, by a white man, I think, in the past. And because of that, she still deals with the trauma of it. And she will never, go that way because she feels like she's never going to be good enough. Maybe because he made her feel that way, And because of that, that's why when she sees others do it, it makes her feel like she is not good enough again because of what she was told, probably. And this is, I think, the video I commented on and specifically told her that she seemed like she was really hurt by men outside of the race, basically. A man outside of the race. And that's basically why I kind of feel like it's odd why people would think she's on the side of divestment. This was only 2 years ago. This was only 2 years ago that she said this. And this was the type of behavior she portrayed 2 years ago. So that's safe to say that this lady does not like divested women, does not like Black women in interracial relationships, does not like Black women who have preferences outside of their own race. She doesn't like black men who do that either, because, like I said, she doesn't like black people who interracially date, but specifically black women who interracially date, she's very jealous of. And she feels are basically placed on a higher position than her, because she feels like the men of what she calls the dominant race choose those women over her. They prefer women over her, black women over her. So what kind of black woman does that make her? An inferior black woman. And that's why she's trying to make up for that and trying to say that she doesn't prefer them. But that's not even true, I don't think. I think it's just that she doesn't feel good enough for them because she sees them as the dominant race, the dominant society, the better society. Her as the inferior race, basically. The subservient race, basically. She has an inferior complex and she has a low self-esteem of her black race. That's why she isn't very comfortable with her own hair texture, because of the fact that she doesn't like the fact that she belongs to the black race, of which she sees as subservient to white people. Anyway, continue.
Whose battle against the Chicago Mafia earned him the name Robin Hood of the Hood. The Life and Times of Teddy Rowe Policy King is an exciting historical tale that provides the untold and overlooked story of organized crime in America. So pick up Robin Hood of the Hood, The Life and Times of Teddy Rowe Policy King. The book is available now on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. Are some black women able to go out and get a white man and marry him? Absolutely. But the higher up the socioeconomic scale you go, the less options you have. Because when they have money, they're definitely or least likely to marry outside of their community because they value themselves and they want their wealth to stay in their community. So that's just a reality. You can keep getting mad. You can keep doing troll videos. You can keep saying, well, just because you can't get a white man, even if I couldn't get a white man, I wouldn't care. I don't want one. But I can tell you what, if you had one, I would take your white man and turn him into my trick. Know that. Because they would prefer a woman like me than a woman like you any day. I can get any of them, white, Asian, whoever. And I don't need to be desperate. I don't need to take pink pills. I don't need to pay to be on social media websites just to be in proximity to them. I simply need to walk out my door. So if y'all were smart, you would come to me and ask me for advice on how to get one to give me their money, even while telling them I'm not going to date you. You should be asking me how you can level up, but instead you're trolling. And really, y'all are the exact same as the SYSBM dudes that y'all complain about. Y'all have the same pathology. You have the same unwillingness to face reality. You troll people's videos. You get triggered by comments that are not even directed towards you. So you don't have a right to be in my comment section with your dust saying the same exact things to me that the SYSBM men are saying in response to me pointing out who they choose to date and their lack of desirability from the women within the dominant society. That's just the truth. And if you don't like it, it is what it is. That's on you. And that's why you're in the situation you're in, triggered over my video, and that's why I'm here not caring. But I wanted to clear that up for you guys who are sitting here saying, oh, well, black men aren't marrying us either. Okay, well, aren't you supposed to be going to the men within the dominant society to remedy that?
No, that's what I mean. She is very confused on that, it seems. For one, I think, like I said, she has a lot of anger, you can tell, towards black women who interracially date because, like I said, I think she feels that she doesn't have value when she's with a black man because she feels that black men are subservient to white men because she calls white people of the dominant society, meaning that black people aren't even good enough to be in the same society as white people. She has this inferior complex, so she sees black people as submissives subservient race. So then she feels angry at a black woman for going out of her place because she's supposed to be subservient. So how is she going out of her place and going into the so-called dominant society and being chosen by somebody of the dominant society, dominant race, because the white race is a far better race than the black race, basically. And this is, I think, what her issue is with white men and white women who interracially date. This is why she goes after black men who interracially date very often, because it's encouraged and because she has an issue with this. She doesn't appreciate or like the fact that black people go outside of their race because she sees them as subservient to white people. And you see this often on channels that dislike people who interracially date while choosing to date within their race. Because it's almost like they have this slave mentality where they still see themselves as slaves, basically, inferior to white people, and that they aren't good enough for white people, basically. And they see black people who choose other races as not good enough for white people. And so this is why they come up with the whole idea that the people that they can get with must be lower bottom shelf white people, basically, because they see white people as so superior to black people. You see, she claimed that she was proud of being a black person, but in reality, no, the idea that she's presenting is that she sees white people as superior to black people, and that's where all the anger for her issue with black women basically dating outside of their race. So all in all, she doesn't embrace black women. A major part of her channel as of lately was to have the idea of black woman empowerment, but she doesn't even see black women as equal to white women. She doesn't see black women as equal to the white race. They're not deserving of white people. They're not deserving of a man outside of their race, because they're not equal to people outside of their race. They are subservient to people outside of their race, in her view. And you could tell this by how she's saying dominant society, as if black people don't belong to the same society as white people because black people are inferior. So that's where her anger comes from. And this is why I say people who are against interracial relationships are usually those who agree with white supremacy. Even though they claim to love being black, they really don't. And they really feel inferior as black people. And that's what their issue is with other black people. It's because they're saying basically, you're still black, you're no better than me, you should know your place, basically. That's what all this is about. So that's all I have to say in this video. Thanks for watching, everyone. Like and subscribe and comment down below. Have a great day. Bye.